Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. The intriguing subject we are delving into in today's video is whether it's possible to create a universal tool for unlocking locks with the key inside, and we will explore the possibilities and challenges associated with this concept. So, previously it was possible to make a tool that, for example, in a situation such as where the key is already securely in place in the lock. The key is in the lock, and the person has gone home and closed the door. Let's say, for example, he has a security lock with a protective shield that is designed to be very secure. That is, after turning the key. The curtains cover the keyhole, and you will not be able to open this lock with the same hooks. Here is how to help a person how to open doors if a person has entered the house. Naturally, if, for example, the lock has protective curtains, this tool would help. So, right now, we're going to make it and test it on a lock to see if it works or not, which I'm doubtful about. I'm doubtful, and you might wonder why. It's because the keyhole of the lock is exceptionally tight and narrow. We discovered a tube that fits very tightly into the lock, almost as if it was specifically designed for it. The tube is cylindrical, made of a sturdy metal, and has a smooth surface, which makes it even more challenging to insert. It barely fits, requiring careful maneuvering and precision to get it in place without causing any damage. That is, let's say, if we inserted depilatory wax on the other side, we could pull it onto the key. That is, this is probably the most universal pipe for these purposes. So, it's made with this kind of specialized antenna, which is designed to receive and transmit signals efficiently. However, the question remains, will this particular tube withstand the immense pressure it might encounter, right? This is a crucial point to consider because it's constructed from a soft metal, which is known for its malleability and lack of rigidity. If we were to cut it, there's a significant risk that we might not be able to turn the key in the keyhole, potentially leading to a situation where the mechanism fails entirely. Let's check it out and see if we can do this and explore the possibilities to understand how it turns out. For this particular task, we are going to make use of this absolutely amazing and versatile Dremel tool, which is known for its precision and efficiency in various applications. So, to save time and not to soar in front of you, while you watch my clumsy actions, I'm going to pause the recording and I'll turn it back on when I have something to show from this tube and with the help of this tool. So, basically, essentially in general, we ultimately ended up with this thing. It might still need some refinement, or perhaps a bit more of careful consideration, or maybe not. In generally speaking, when rotating, I believe that it will most likely still hold up, unless of course we have to saw off one side. So we carefully and gently inserted the key into the lock. Considering that there should, in essence, preferably be a shield here, it means in any case the key shouldn't fall out of the lock under pressure. In this next step, we are carefully preparing to insert this specialized tool into the designated area. This process requires precision and attention to detail. As you can clearly see, the walls of this particular tool are indeed very thin. So it's thinner in terms of thickness, but it's unlikely to hold up in terms of durability, let's say. Upon closer examination, we can observe that this particular object appears to be designed in such a way that it could potentially align perfectly with the shape and dimensions of the keyhole, suggesting a precise fit. Just give me 1 second. It is really quite interesting indeed. Stop. No, it won't work. 2 pieces won't fit. So just to be clear, we can't, unfortunately, insert this pick at this moment in time. Why? Because the distance between the keyhole and the key, the lock body and the key, is quite small. And the most we can do is simply insert just one side. So carefully cut it from this side, and then gently insert it precisely into this lock. Exactly right. So then, maybe the system, which is designed to operate automatically under certain conditions, will work itself out. I mean, we see that the key, which is supposed to fit perfectly and turn smoothly, seems to be turning, right? But everything is bending, and it's pretty unreliable due to the poor alignment and material quality. So I think it won't turn. It hasn't turned, as expected. We can see that it's already getting stripped, which could lead to further complications and potential failure. Now let's try to insert both components carefully. So we see that it goes in pretty tightly, indicating a snug fit, but also a risk of damage if forced. And after we insert it, we can't turn it because the metal is tearing. Let's try to shorten these tension wrenches to increase, so to speak, the stiffness edge, and we'll see what comes of it. If we trim these wrenches, they'll be small, and maybe something will work out. And we'll see what comes of it. If we carefully trim these tension wrenches, they'll be compact and portable, and maybe something will slightly work out. We carefully trimmed the tension wrenches, ensuring they were made closer to the main tube for better alignment and support. And now let's see if this additional reinforcement is sufficient to achieve the desired outcome. No, it definitely won't be sufficient. It won't be enough. Even this little boost won't be enough. So, if on these locks, on lever locks, the keyhole and the key are precisely fitted, then inserting such a tool will be impossible. Even if we take a tube like this, cut it, and make one side so that one side can be fitted into. For example, we're going to take this, cut one side, and see what comes of it. So, in this case, we're going to try to make something like this to open it. So we'll end up with a very short tension wrench. The grip we have is enough to turn the key. This tension wrench won't break because the metal is quite soft. If it's possible, of course, he will open it. So I think he will definitely do it. I think this kind of tool, which is specifically designed for such purposes, should be able to open this lock without any issues. If we take it, there should ideally perhaps be a curtain here. We are embarking on a journey, taking this opportunity to delve deeper into the situation at hand. Our goal is to thoroughly examine and understand the key that fits into this particular lock, which represents the challenge we are facing. By doing so, we aim to unlock new possibilities and solutions. As we proceed, we will attempt to make a decisive turn, steering our efforts in a direction that promises success. Therefore, it is crucial for us to remain attentive and observant, watching closely as the events unfold and reveal the outcomes of our actions. The object didn't break, which is good news. However, there's still a chance it might break in the future if conditions change or if it faces more stress. So while it's intact now, it's wise to stay cautious. So let's keep watching and see what happens next. There's no handle on the other side, so we have to and it's a good thing there isn't one, because I think it would have snapped right away if there was a handle. So let's just go ahead and actually make a little bit of a bend right now, currently, so we can In this demonstration, we have successfully rotated the lock mechanism. This allows us to observe the process of how the lock opens. Initially, the lock was closed, and through precise movements, we adjusted the internal components. This enabled us to turn the lock, aligning the pins and tumblers so the lock could open smoothly. This process highlights the complexity and precision required to unlock this mechanism, providing insight into how locks function. Let's take a look. This is quite a gadget. Pick the lock using a tube like this one from an antenna. It might even possibly work if there's a cover in place allowing it to function effectively. The reason the gaps in the pins of this lock do not exceed those found in other locks is due to the careful design and engineering. This ensures that the security level is maintained without compromising the lock's integrity. The gaps in other locks are indeed no smaller. As for pin tumbler locks, I think it's possible to open them not just with a tube. So, you see here, the tube and the ribs are really small for turning. If you make them bigger, the metal will tear. And that's how we managed to open this lock. But let's consider a situation where this tube doesn't fit. Can thieves somehow take advantage of the fact that you have a key in the lock and open the keyhole? They can only do that if they come a little earlier and work with a drill, meaning they would need to widen the keyhole in advance. But let's imagine a situation where this tube doesn't fit. Can thieves somehow take advantage of the fact that you have a key in the lock and open the keyhole? They can only do that if they come a little earlier and work with a drill, meaning they would need to widen the keyhole in advance. You might not even notice it because you're not looking at the lock itself. They can only do that if they come a little earlier and work with a drill, meaning they would need to widen the tip of the keyhole in advance. So, you might not notice it, because you're not looking at the lock itself, right? Well, if someone takes a drill, comes up, and in a couple of seconds enlarges the keyhole, specifically the center of the keyhole, then they can come back later and even use a pick with 2 prongs to insert and open that lock. So, once again, the recommendation is, don't leave your keys in the lock, even if you have a cover, because it can lead to consequences, and for a thief, it will be hard to open that lock because finding something like this isn't always easy. Right. Well, if, let's say, a person takes a drill, approaches the lock, in a couple of seconds increases the volume of the keyhole, namely the center of the keyhole, that is, and then he can come calmly and even with a master key with 2 antennae, he can insert and open this lock. So once again, the recommendation is not to leave keys in the lock, even if you have a curtain. That is, this is fraught with consequences. And it will be difficult for a thief to open this lock, because it is not always possible to find, for example, let's say such a thing carefully. And for thieves, you won't be giving them a chance to pick your lock while you're sleeping, which is a significant advantage in ensuring your safety and peace of mind. So, I'm going to wrap up my video here by summarizing the key points we've discussed, emphasizing the importance of security and how these tips can help you. If you found the information helpful, give it a thumbs up, as it really supports the channel and helps others discover this valuable content. If you didn't like the video, if it didn't resonate with you, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. Leave your comments and feedback. All the best.